Good evening. Welcome to this edition of Turnaround Marriage Live. We are so excited to dive in with a really near and dear to our hearts subject this evening, and that is the subject of Christmas. And we asked the question tonight: is the ghost of Christmas past haunting you? And maybe is it even haunting you about Christmas present and Christmas future, a la Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens? Guys, if you're out there tonight and you're like maybe even dreading Christmas that's almost here, like it's, oh my goodness, what is it, 6 days away, we're almost on Christmas, and you're dreading not only the stuff that you have to do this coming week, but you're dreading the disconnect that you have between you and your spouse, and maybe you're hoping that things can be so much more, but you're wondering, oh my goodness, is it going to be just like it's been in the past?
Yeah, if that's you, please tune in. And if you're on Facebook, say hello, give us a like and a thumbs up. And if you are on YouTube, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button so that we can spend more time together. Our heart is to help strengthen and build your Christian marriage. Yeah. And so, this idea of Charles Dickens' classic, A Christmas Carol, with, of course, the character Scrooge, who everybody knows, the miserly old man. And when he was taken back to his Christmas past, he noticed everything that he did wrong and all the mistakes that he made and how he ended up where he is now. And we're here to just kind of dive in with you guys and see, is that ghost of Christmas past haunting you? And you're remembering those Christmases past where you felt disconnected. Yeah. You felt like there was arguing, and you tried so hard to make it work and make it fun and make it nice, but you weren't getting along. You weren't on the same page about your in-laws and extended family and how many things you said yes to, and your schedules were frazzled and you weren't connecting, and there wasn't any intimacy in the bedroom, and all it was just chaos and spending money that you didn't have and arguing over the calendar and the schedule and trying to make it really nice, right, and trying to force it. And it was just like all the presents are opened and it's a big mess. And you're just like, is this what it is? Is this what it is? Is this what Christmas is all about? If that's you, we can relate. We were there. We were there for so many years, weren't we?
You're no doubt about it. And really the heart of it was that we weren't on the same team, but we were trying. Like, we knew that things could be so much more. Like, we'd hoped that there could be this romantic connection, not only with the kids, not only for the two of us, but for the whole family.
Not a romantic connection with the kids.
To make it clear, thank you. But
that came out wrong.
That came out wrong. But to make a hope-filled experience at home, that's what we wanted Christmas to be, kind of like the movies. And it seemed like for year after year for us, it just did not go well. And it was like we kept, like, the same recipe for disaster was locked in. Like, I'm going to buy you presents. I really want to get you nice things. I want to communicate that that you're loved, and it would usually fail, because it was like, I just buy all this stuff and we weren't on the same page. We had no idea what we're going to spend for Christmas on each other or for the kids. So we just buy all kinds of stuff in the hopes that this was going to make them happy, going to make you happy. And really, it often led to things actually being worse. It was almost like at the end of the day of Christmas, I would think, I wish that there had not been Christmas. It would have been easier in many ways.
Yeah, because we weren't on the same page. We had and let those frustrations of years past really build up, so that the week of the holidays, actually the whole month of December, how crazy it can get, and the schedule's packed. And so we weren't on the same page in terms of, we didn't know how to get on the same team in terms of our schedule and our calendar and our budget. And so, Scott, you had a big heart that you wanted to do what you wanted, which was, you like gifts. And so you buy me these really expensive gifts and these really nice things. And I would just open them and be like, how much did you spend on this? Are you kidding me? We don't, where are we going to come up with this? And then you would be sort of disappointed that I hadn't gotten you the expensive gift, because I was like, we don't have the money. And what I mean? And then there was this angst of we care about each other. We love God. We want Christmas to be not about all the stuff. We want to be remembering the hope of the gospel of a new baby coming down to earth to save us, to rescue us, the beautiful story of the birth of Jesus. And yet it was just never that way. It just wasn't. And it was so disappointing.
Yeah. And it was almost like we looked to Christmas to be like this magic pill. We kind of hoped that it was going to be this thing that solved everything.
Yeah.
Year after year after year. And watching the movies and all that sort of thing, we'd hope it would make things better, but it didn't make things better. Oftentimes it didn't. It actually felt like they were making them worse. Yeah. And so maybe you guys are out there and you're almost like dreading this year. Maybe you're hoping that, you're hoping that things are going to be different, but they probably in the back of your mind thinking, oh my goodness, they're probably not going to be. And so what is the ghost of Christmas present saying to you? And maybe you're thinking, I love this person across the room from me. I love the person that sleeps in the same bed with me, but it seems like we're so disconnected. Is Christmas going to be the solution? Are the gifts, are the traditions going to change things? Is it going to be the magic pill this year? And here's the reality. Unless you're changing things with the way the two of you operate, getting on the same team, it's not going to change a thing. Christmas will not change anything. There is no car that you're going to buy, no jewelry you're going to buy, no gift that's going to happen unless things are changing between the two of you.
Yeah. And it can almost feel like you feel like such a fraud because you go to church and you have friends at church and they think you guys are okay and you're successful in a lot of other areas of your life. But then when you come home, there's just this gap of expectation and reality. And that gap is disappointment. And the bigger the gap, the more disappointed you feel, the more disconnected you feel. And the longer that you go without really speaking about the things that you know you need to talk about, you don't really even know how to talk about them without getting into an argument over it, or even possibly calling each other names, or then you feel terrible about what you just called your spouse because, how could I say that to them? I'm an honorable person. And you stoop to these low places and you find that you're just not the person that you want to be, and you're not happy. And you're like, well, is it my spouse? Should we just call it quits? Is it like, but what about the kids? And then so you like slog it out and think, well, let's just kind of hang in there for the kids and just try to force it and make it work. And we're here to tell you Christmas can be totally different. Christmas can be totally different. If we could handle the disconnection part, right? If we could address the disconnection and get you guys reconnected, what could be different?
Yeah.
What could be different?
To think about the future.
Yeah.
Like what Christmas is all about, hope, right? And that's the thing that we want to convey most of all this evening. The key, if there is anything special about Christmas, it is the season of giving, but it is the hope of Jesus. It is the hope of the Savior that has come and the hope that he's coming again. It's the hope of the God who redeems all things, redeems us, even us unto himself. And that is who he is. That's in his character. He is a redemptive God. He's a redeeming God. That's what he does. And we get to see that all the time with couples too.
With our clients, yeah.
It's in his heart for marriage to be so much more. It's in his heart for there to be redemption, even of marriages that maybe have struggled for years like ours did. That it can be so much more. And so, guys, that's what we'd want to say is that thinking about this Christmas and the Christmases to come is the hope of what Jesus has in store. Right?
Yeah.
Because everything can be different.
Yeah.
That's what he desires it to be.
Like you said, he is a God of redemption, a God who makes all things new. He can make your marriage new. But how many times have you said things will never change?
Yeah.
This is how it is. And I'm just so frustrated. And we've just grown apart. And you're repeating these lies over and over again. And those lies start to affect your life as if they're true. And Christian, I'm here to tell you, do not partner with the enemy of your soul to tell yourself lies that nothing will change. Nothing can change. Nothing can change. That is not true. Change is a choice. Change is actually inevitable because we all are changing constantly. We are all either growing or dying. And don't you dare partner with the enemy of your soul to lie to yourself and to your spouse and to that situation and say that nothing can change. Because here's the thing, if you're coming into the Christmas season with this negativity and with this expectation that, well, it's just going to be, this is how it is. Well, we're just frustrated. Well, we're just going to have to do it. Well, we're just going to have to argue about whether we spend time at the in-laws or not, or, how much time we do with extended family and the schedule and all this. You're going to get more of the same. If you're coming into it with that kind of negativity, with those kinds of attitudes, and you're focusing on all the problems and all of what's not working, guess what you're going to get more of? More of what's not working. And that's exactly why you need somebody to come alongside you and help show you those blind spots so that you can see. And we can start pulling the negativity down and start opening up to what is possible. What is possible? I thought we couldn't change. I thought we were destined to just do it like that. We had done it for over a decade, like that. And until we finally decided And we finally decided, we drew a line in the sand and we said, no more. We've got to fix this now. So what could be different for the Christmas in the future, right?
Yeah, it's true.
What could that ghost of the Christmas future, or whatever he's called, what could that look like? Like, imagine you guys got the tools to learn how to communicate at a heart level. What if you could learn the skills to turn conflict into something that rips you apart to something that actually helps draw you closer and brings you more intimacy because you learn about each other? What if you could learn the secret to keeping your mind stayed on the things that are true and pure and lovely and of good report? What if you could learn how to take your thoughts captive and really start to focus on what you want and partner with the Holy Spirit rather than the enemy of your soul and start believing the truth about what's possible? What if we could start to let go of the frustration, the unforgiveness, the bitterness, the resentment, the anger, and the things that have kept you guys disconnected?
Right.
What if we could pull our pride down and adopt some humility? And we could say, I've been wrong. I'm so sorry. Let's do this different. Let's reach out. Let's get some help. What could be possible for the Christmas in the future? I literally have shivers because we see those pictures of our clients.
I know, it's amazing.
And you know, you just saw one the other day.
Well, we see a lot of them, but
Yeah.
past clients and present clients, and thinking about what is Christmas going to be like this year. Like, it's going to be totally different. Because the presents are irrelevant for the kids, knowing that their house is that the disruption is going back to order, that the upheaval that's been there's a whole lot more peace. Knowing that the root of the vine, the marriage, that the fruit of the vine, the kids derive their strength from, is solid and stable and healthy and growing. It's so amazing to think about the peace that will be in people's homes this year as a result of being able to correct things and be able to change the way that they were showing up in their marriage. And it means for everything being different. And it's amazing when people have that hope of connection between the two of each other, the husband and wife, but also when things are right in the family, the way that they should be, everything else seems to make sense too. Like, looking at the new year, it doesn't even matter who the president is. Like, looking in the new year, it doesn't even matter what the job scenario looks like, because you have hope. You have hope of what can be. And everything changes. And my goodness, we do see all the time people, when they get their marriage right, they start getting pay raises and new job promotions and things like that. It's amazing. The Father wants to give good gifts to his kids, but he will not give them to us when we're disobedient. It's very simple.
It's so true. When we start getting in alignment with doing marriage the way he has commanded us to do it, and really doing it with a heart set that's humble enough to ask for help, humble enough to say, I'm willing to change. The buck stops with me. It's not just them, and finger pointing. So much is possible, you guys. And so, if you're out there and you're somebody who's successful in your job, and you have a beautiful family on Facebook, and Instagram looks really good, and yet at home things are just not right, and you're like, nobody taught us this. Nobody taught us how to how to do this thing called relationships, right? We encourage you to go ahead and book that call. We just have a few spots left between now and the new year. And guys,
fast.
What could be different if you start making an investment in yourselves, an investment in your marriage? We learned years ago that when you start investing in yourselves, things pay back 10 and 50 fold. It's amazing. It's that parable of sowing and reaping. You're sowing and reaping. It's not karma. It's not, whatever. It's like when you're doing what God says, and you're sowing into a marriage, you're sowing into the relationship, you're sowing into the word and in prayer, and sowing into growth and expansion. Like, what are you going to reap? And so how many times do we just refuse to make the investment in ourselves? We put everybody else first. We'll invest in our home. We'll invest in our businesses. We'll invest in our, vacations and things that are temporary. But the number one predictor of happiness, do you know what it is? It's the power and connection in your intimate relationships. And if your intimate relationship is in shambles and it's embarrassing and you've got a lot of shame around it, we want to encourage you, do something about it. Go ahead and book that call. We're telling you things can be radically different. You can be like our clients this last week who said, we've had a 180 in our marriage. We are literally turned around. We cannot believe it. This is what's possible when you have the right partners to help
Yeah.
you, the right strategy, and you get the right heart set and mindset and the skill set,
Yeah,
right?
it's so true. Yeah.
yeah.
And what I would just finally say for couples that are out there and they know that there's a better path, the thing that can be so frustrating, and it was the case for us, when you know what it could look like, you know what
Yeah.
it should look like, you know, in many ways what the scripture tells you what it should be, and you're not able to get there. You're not able to show up that way. There's too many things that have happened, too many stories, too many tapes that are playing in your mind about them not loving you the way that you would want them to.
Yeah.
And you're both showing up frustrated, isolated, lonely. You've built walls between you, and it can really be hard to see, how do you get out of this when it's just you and your spouse?
Yeah.
And you absolutely need, when that's the case, outside help.
Mhm.
And I will tell you, there's a lot of help you can get, and a whole lot of it is not even biblical. Most of it is not even godly. And if it's not godly, what is it? It's not of God. So you have to be very careful with what's out there, for sure.
Absolutely.
But what we would say, guys, is with getting that right kind of help, there can be hope of not just things improving. Hear what I'm saying? Not hope of just a slightly better Christmas than last year. We're talking about a whole new life, a whole new marriage,
Yeah.
a whole new family, when we do it the way God's designed it to be. So absolutely book that call. Turnaroundmarriage.com/call. We literally have just a few slots left, and we'd love to be able to get on that call, talk about what's not working, where you hope it can go, and a path to get there. And if we're a good fit, guys, we're going to absolutely make that clear. But if not, we'll point you elsewhere. But just know that this isn't for everybody. These are for those that are sick and tired of the way things have been, and they're ready for there to be change, and they're ready to make an investment in time, energy, even financially, for things to be radically different. If that's you, then let's book that call and let's talk soon.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, have a good night.